Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another formation tactic video to do today, another review from the homie RG11. So as you guys know, when it comes to these formation tactic videos, when we put them onto the YouTube channel, it's usually because I end up actually liking them, right? If I don't like them, it's not really like worth the review because I'm not going to give you guys one that I myself don't really mess with, right? But these tactics are definitely very cool. I love the way that it moves across the pitch, and I want to share it with you guys. So this is going to be from RG11. So again, guys, if you guys want to check out the original video, be sure to check out the description down below. The link will be there. Give him the view, give him the like, all of that good stuff, because we obviously got it from him, okay? This is a thing that we do here on the channel where we check out different people's formation and tactics to kind of see whether or not they're cool. The thing is, man, is that I love making these types of videos, but I like making these types of videos when the formation and tactic is actually unique and different. Normally, when you check out like a 4-2-3-1, a 4-1-2-1-2, a 4-4-2, for me personally, it's not the formation, but it's the tactic and instructions that people use that make the formations basic. Like, there's no identity when it comes to the way that the formation moves across the pitch, right? So with this one, I do like it. Like I said, guys, if we do this in the future, it is going to be formations that I do end up liking, right? So we're going to start off with the defense. The defense is set up at a balance, 55 for width, 70 for depth. This is the one part where you actually may want to adjust the tactic, right? There's going to be moments in game where, depending on one of the type of players you have in your club, as well as your play style, this may not be the defensive tactic for you, right? Now, for me personally, I had a draft where I was using Soyuncu as well as the Aston Villa center back that I actually have in this draft again. House? Yeah, I think it's the House card. House? Yeah, he is pretty slow, right? So when you have a depth like this, it's very easy to get behind that, right? But when you have very good center backs like we do right now with Varane, I don't know if he has a pace boost, so I might actually have to change the defensive tactic for this draft again. A player like Varane on a shadow chemistry slot has the pace, has the physical, has the defensive presence to be able to block out those areas, right? The depth for this, we are going to be talking about when we check out the actual highlights, but it makes sense for the way that the rest of the team is actually formatted, right? In the attack, we have slow build-up, direct passing, 60 for width, and then 6 for players in the box. And to be honest with you, starting off, I love when a team already has the slow build-up, but I also love when they're working with the direct passing instruction. Direct passing, you have to really fiddle around with a lot, because this tactic is actually really nice, but it really revolves around the instructions and tactics that you use everywhere else, because there's not going to be a time where direct passing is good every single time. Like, I try to use it for a 4-2-3-1 narrow for a larger period of time, and it just didn't really work out because the way that the players spread out far from me, and it was just not great, right? So the other instruction and tactics that you use going to be very important, right? The instructions that we have set is going to be balanced for the fullbacks with conservative interceptions and overlap, which is very cool. I like the way that that's set up. Conservative interceptions, overlap, again for both fullbacks. Both of the center mids are going to be on stage. Stay on the edge of the box for the cross, as well as cover center. We do not have them on stay back while attacking, okay? In the left mid, right mid positions, we have them on cut inside, get in behind, get into the box, which is going to be very interesting for the way that they perform on the pitch, which we will be getting into. So again, for the left mid, same exact instruction: cut inside, get in behind, get into the box. And here's the cool thing: both the center forward and the striker on stay central, get in behind, okay? We're gonna be talking about how this team moves across the pitch with the highlights that we're gonna show right now, and let's get into it. Okay, guys, so let's talk about this formation tactic. Let me tell you guys something, man. This formation tactic from RG11 is really cool. Love the way that the players move across the pitch. Very unique because of the way that he set up his tactics, the way that he set up his instructions. Everything makes sense for the way that I think he wants to move his players across the pitch. Normally, I don't like to hear the explanation of the player. I just look at the formation, I look at the instructions, and I just try them out, because your brain works differently than the person actually setting up that formation and tactics. So you have to give it a try, see if it works really nicely, and basically go from there, right? So let's get started with the fullbacks. The fullbacks are on conservative and overlap, and this works really well because of the tactics that you have set up for your left mid and right mid with the cut inside, get into the box, and get in behind instruction. What happens is so interesting, man, because there's a really cool transitional play when you are in the attacking position and when you are in the defensive positions. Because even though you have those three instructions in your left mid and right mid position, the way that they understand to utilize positions in the side areas as well as the middle spot, it's really, really cool to work with. Because what you want to aim for in this game when you're facing someone who is parking the bus is you want to have as much attacking AI movement as possible, right? So making your left mids and right mids cutting inside on the attack, but still having that extra width with players in the side positions, especially your fullback areas, committing forward is great. But the conservative interception part is very, very important, because obviously if you're committing your fullbacks forward, you leave yourself vulnerable in defensive areas. But what happens when you leave them on conservative is they're not as aggressive at pushing forward and leaving you vulnerable in those positions. Yes, sometimes you can get caught on the counter, but they transition back really quickly, especially if you have the right players in the right positions. Like for me, for instance, I think for this one, I had Hakimi. Hakimi's absolutely brilliant. Like I didn't really feel like that was a noticeable nuisance on the card, although I did notice him on the attack from time to time. But it was worth it because of the fun aspect and the way that it opens up the pitch, right? The two center mids, again, two very important instructions for these guys. Stay on the edge of the box for the balance of pushing forward and always having that support just outside of the 18-yard box, depending on the base characteristics of the players that you're using. But also the fact that they kind of get into the right attacking areas at the right time and getting into the defensive areas at the right time is brilliant to work with, because you don't have them on stay back while attacking. So they actually offer you this extra attacking support. A lot of the times you guys will see me in a situation like this, kind of messing around, trying out some different skill moves to kind of have some fun, right? But there are literally two different options you can see there just alone, from De Jong getting into a good position at the right time, Messi getting into the right position at the right time, because everything works out so well. And the interesting thing is, for me, when it comes to FIFA this year, is that I personally feel like I always need that cam or that center forward in the team. And I feel like in this year's game, it makes the most sense. In a situation like this, guys, you can clearly see that we were using the 70 depth, and it was just too easy for him to make the one pass to Holland, right? So you can see fullbacks are on the positions. But if I have the pace here, right, not necessarily an issue. Even here, I'm defending perfectly fine. The player is just too slow to go backwards, right? So the high depth is not an issue. It's the quality of players that you have that's going to be very important when it comes to you adjusting that specific tactic. But just over here on the attack, you could see the amount of players inside the 18-yard box creating that space, because when your left mid and right mid cut inside, their fullbacks start to cut inside too. So you create this like middle space where people are just being super congested, which is great to work with, because again, you have the fullbacks utilizing those side positions as much as possible. But here's the thing, man, because his attack is set up with higher width, like at a 60, I believe, right? It's actually so beneficial with those instructions, because they still act like wide players if you have your striker and center forward occupying good areas through the middle. So for instance, because we have the instruction of get in behind and stay central for both the center forward and striker, it doesn't necessarily mean that they always just make this straightforward run only through the general middle area. They will actually sometimes move off slightly to the left side or slightly to the right side. And I feel like that extra support is always fantastic to work with, because you can always look for that extra pass and first time strike to score your opportunities. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This formation, when I used it in the draft, I was flying through the draft because of how well it was made. For me personally, guys, with FIFA this year, I really believe that, first of all, the top tier players, I think this is the biggest gap we've ever seen. It's 100%. I think that when you get the top tier players, your gameplay literally changes. I know it's like this every single year, but this year I think it's the biggest one, because in this draft we had Messi playing as a center forward and Ronaldo at striker, and you guys can just see the absolute beauty of movement across the pitch because of the way that these guys get into the right areas at the right time. It's just fantastic to work with. But I never thought about the stay central, getting behind instruction for both the striker and center forward to always constantly congest the middle. Because here's what happens, guys. I've noticed that in this FIFA, when you have the get in behind instruction, you actually push their back line further back. So you'll notice it sometimes with your own defensive tactics, where if someone is using get in behind against you, your defensive tactics will be further back as well. So you'll notice this gap between your midfield and your defenders, which is why I think he ended up using the high depth for his defense, so he can close that gap as much as possible. Because here's the thing, right? Because your midfielders are kind of committing on the attack, the high depth kind of makes it as balanced as possible so they're closer to the defenders, right? So again, you do have to be careful of the through balls, the lob passes, like in a situation like this game where this guy was using Holland, just doing one pass to Holland, he's through on goal. You do have to be careful of those. You have to have the right quality of players to be able to avoid that as much as possible, right? But this formation and tactic, guys, honestly has been one of my favorite to use so far. It's been this one in Stallions 4-2-3-1 wide, and to be fair, I haven't been playing too much on my RTG account because you guys know I focus more on the player review stuff. But man, the way that this team moves across the pitch is absolutely brilliant. Love the way that the left mid and right mid move into positions. The center mids, you have to have the right center mids, man. Again, in this draft, we had RTTK, De Jong, and De Bruyne, and it just worked out perfectly. I think for my main team, I may try to get De Jong and Modric, because I feel like in this team it worked out so well. Like just in a situation like that, De Bruyne being on the balance instruction goes into empty space really well. We make a small little pass, and then the players this year actually have smart enough attacking AI in those areas where they actually drop back to be able to shoot forward, which is great. Again, De Bruyne getting involved in the attack right here. We go just outside, or just about to go outside, inside the 18-yard box, and that creates that space for your striker and center forward to score those tap-ins, which happens quite a bit when using this formation and tactic, guys. So yeah, guys, for me, really enjoyed using it. It was absolutely fantastic, and I think RG11 deserves a lot of credit because of the way that it moves across the pitch. Like I said, the defensive tactics is probably the only thing that I would actually adjust, depending on the quality of players that you have, but there's not a lot that I would change on this team. Like maybe for one situation of the game, I would have one of the center mids on stay back while attacking for a better balance, but for the fun aspect of the game and being able to attack against Park the Bus people, it is really good to work with. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video today. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.